Well, look, number one, I want to thank you two again for taking time out of schedule to participate. I'll let you introduce yourselves, but for the listening audience that tunes in to Next Opportunity Social, hi again, right? And so glad you were able to plug in and take time with us today. As you know, we see this as a portal, as an opportunity to allow individuals to learn from the brightest and best, hear from entrepreneurs. People are actually doing the thing, right? Folks are actually putting the work and building businesses. So, there's not any W-2s on this line politicking as 1099s here. We're talking to two full-time entrepreneurs who've had tremendous success and just excited to have a discussion today. So thank you, Karen. Thank you, Paula, for joining us.
Thank you, Juan.
Yes, indeed. It looks like business partner Nina is joining in now. So
Perfect.
We'll be seeing her smiling face here. And, look, the subject matter I want to chat about is, what the trials and tribulations, what the process looks like when you're going from a team of me to a team of we. And I'll tell you what inspired it. I think you all may have seen the video that I shared before, but I was having a conversation with my personal banker, and she said something to me that kind of struck me. She said, Juan, you come in here every other day, and when we chat, when we converse, I've never seen you ask about your balance. It's like, you don't even care what's in the account. And I said, well, don't get it twisted. I care what's in the account. But you're right. I'm not checking the balance every single day. Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm not necessarily asking myself how many transactions transpired today. I'm asking myself, how can I make my team stronger? And I know if I make my team stronger, the transaction will take care of itself. And she kind of sat back and dropped her mouth for a moment. And I thought to myself, this would be a good conversation, because I know that's part of the mindset, right? When you first start out as a team of me, when you're just getting started, you're counting every penny. Everything's 100% on you. You have bills you need to pay, responsibilities, the whole 9 yards. Children like to eat, right? So you're
you would know.
Yeah, I do know. But you also, at some point, you reach that stage where you realize, okay, this is about building a business, an asset that will pay me whether I go to work or not. And that's part of the reason why you take on employees and scale, so you can do just that. So I want to hear what your initial thoughts are on that. And then I have a couple more questions, but look, floor is yours. Whoever want to lead discussion first.
Awesome. Do you want to take it, Karen? You want me to go?
You can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. It's such a great question. So when I saw that you posted that, I thought, man, it's so relevant. And I have been me, we. It is cyclic, right? And I want to be we all the time, because I got to a point where I recognized that if I really wanted to help the number of people that I wanted to help, if I really wanted to expand and scale, the only way to do that is through we, no question. Early on, when you're a me, you can get a lot of things done. You can grow, you can build, you're hungry, you're in the grind. And then you get to that tipping point where you recognize, I really need somebody else if I want to get to that next level. And there's some mental shifts that have to take place there. Part of it is you're building all of this, this money, right? Your account is growing, and you're thinking, if I bring somebody in, but that's my money, I got to pay somebody to now come in and then help me grow again, right? So you're going to watch your account go like this and then go like that, but that's the investment. So I think it really becomes a mindset shift when you get that next person in, that the investment, it's not that you're losing money. And that was a big shift for me. I think that I had to recognize that I wasn't losing money. I was investing in somebody that was going to help me actually help more people and make more money and have more fun. So that was my initial experience with that.
Yeah. And for me, it wasn't so much the money issue. It's the delegation issue, being able to delegate those tasks that I need to get done, and just letting go, because a lot of it is, I worked for so long as a freelancer and as a consultant, and it was just me. And I have my own way of doing things, but I kind of have to let that go and, give the assignment and let the person take on the assignment. What I'm learning now is putting processes in place so that the people that come behind me, the people that I hire, can do things the way that I want them done, giving them that leeway, and some freedom to do things to accomplish things the way that feel best for them, but also working within a framework so that we can be productive.
Karen, let me ask, I'm sorry. I just want to ask Karen
go ahead.
a quick question, because I too am I love to micromanage, and I really need to keep myself in check. And so with you being in business, how many years have you been in business?
I consulted for over 20 years, and now we've had Space Lab for almost 5 years, and I have a couple other businesses as well. So did you find, yeah, that's what I thought you'd had a minute in experience. So yeah. Have you found that it's often a trust issue in letting go? You attempt to let go. Yes.
And that person, and so I would love to hear how you handled that, or even Joanne, for me, it's, I really want to trust that person. I want to let them do the thing, and I'm okay with it being done not how I would do it, but man, how many times have you gotten bitten?
Yeah, so I'll tell you how I'm handling it now. I have contracted with a friend of mine. We started out as business colleagues. We taught together at a college. She is very organized. She's owned her own businesses, and she has taught me things in the past. So now I've contracted with her to help me put processes in place, because I know she knows what she's doing. And she doesn't, when I need to be told something, she doesn't hold back, because we have worked together in the past. I've worked with people, previously who I didn't have a long-term relationship with. And sometimes there were misunderstandings there. So that trust issue can come into play. But now I'm working with somebody who really knows me, and I know her, and we're working together pretty well.
That's the key, is finding that person, right?
Yeah, and it I've had virtual assistants. They don't always work out, but there's a trial and error there. You have to figure out who you can work with, who understands you, and you can work well with them and direct them too.
Yeah, I've been, I don't necessarily like to call it an accusation, because I take it as a compliment, but I've been told I'm direct. And I think sometimes that can be hard for employees.
Yes.
I'm certainly not a bitch, if I can say that. Like, I'm very kind, and I'm very loving, and I really want people to succeed, and I want to set them up for success. But I don't have time for fluff, where, Karen, could you maybe, you kind of maybe, like, I'm not like that. I'm like, oh, hey, this is great how you did this, but let's go ahead and then take this and do that. Like, I'm just like, boom, 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 let's get it done.
Right. You're about your business. You have other things to do, and they need to get done right then and there. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. So I've had 2 periods where I've dealt with 2 things that you just said that were triggers for me. Right. When I started out my practice as an investment advisor, like eons ago, 20 years ago. Right. I was actually forced to take on someone because the pain just got too great. That's when I knew it was time. It was just painful, right?
Yeah.
I'm scheduling. Oh, and by the way, hello, Ms. Nina Payne. Glad you're able to make it.
Hi, Nina.
Hi,
Nina.
Yeah.
Late to the party.
Nice to see you again.
So the pain just got to the point where it's too great.
Yeah.
I was setting all these appointments. I was making the phone calls. I was running myself into the ground, literally. And I knew I was going to have to delegate some of this stuff, right? So, you set appointments, you have to follow up, then the email correspondence, then the letters. I mean, it was just, I was constantly juggling the quote unquote ancillary work that needs to happen in order for the business to run smoothly, but also seeing my clients. And so I took on an admin assistant. She had no experience in my industry. It was just someone that I knew, but it was someone I knew that was smart. She was willing to learn, and I knew she could take my ish. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I knew, I knew she trusted that if I said something harsh, it wasn't coming from a bad place. And the thing is, initially it was tough because she was saying things in a way I wouldn't say it. She was sending messages in the way that I wouldn't send them. She was doing things totally different. But after kind of just accepting the fact that I'm not going to find anyone else, I was paying her next to nothing road school work she was doing. She wanted to learn the industry. So I'll just be frank about that. I was like, I'm not going to replace her. Let me just see where this goes. And a week, 2 weeks later, things were still running smoothly. And so I was forced to acknowledge the fact, okay, there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to get things done. And I think, I'll just be frank, like, I think when you reach a certain degree of educational or academic achievement, when you reach a certain degree of professional achievement, at the end of the day, we're kind of hot-wired to think, right? You go to school, you make good grades, you learn all these things so you can do things yourself, right? We've all heard the same, if you want it done right, do it yourself. But that's the kiss of death in business because you can't scale with that attitude, right?
Exactly.
So she forced me to understand that, no, there is more than one way of doing things and it's okay, right? Now, something that both of you said that kind of triggered me as well, there's a book out there called Traction. They talk EOSs and they say GWC, right? You want to partner with people or hire people. I call them partners in everything that I do. You want to partner with people who get it, right? They get the mission, get the purpose, they get the goal, right? And of course, the higher the goal, the higher you're trying to achieve, the air gets thinner. You got to be short of people. You don't have time, right? You got to get that. You got to understand that before you come in, because you're going to get some incoming, right? If you don't do things correctly. People who want it. Not everybody wants the accountability, right? And, you know, unfortunately, I just had a conversation with the team this past week where I was like, you know, the door's there. You're more than welcome to take it.
That's direct.
I mean, you don't want to be accountable, there's the door. You know, it's here for you. This is voluntary here. So, you know, it's all good, nothing personal. And then people who have the capacity and the skills. And when I started incorporating GWC into everything I do, things run a lot smoother. I find myself partnering with the right people. I can be more free to be me, which means every now and again, you're not going to get corporate Juwan, you're going to get F-bomb Juwan, right? And
I knew we were friends for a reason.
Yes. you're gonna hear me say words like shit and et cetera, from time to time. Don't let the U of M education fool you. And then, you know, I think too, when you create a vibration and resonance and you're free to be you, you also attract people who understand what you're looking for and they come with the receipts, right? And you're able to check those things out. So since I've applied that, it's made it a lot easier. It doesn't ever get easy, but it's made it a lot easier.
So you are the second person this week who's mentioned Traction to me. Yes. And it's on my Audible reading list in my queue, and I'm going to start it today.
And I was going to say the same thing, and I don't know what GWC stands for because I also have not. It's in my Audible, and I need to just turn it on and start listening.
Yeah.
So G, people who get it, they get it, right? So the mission, the vision, the goals, the objectives, what you're taking aim at, they get it, right? So I've implemented something in my business called an uplifting service agreement. So with almost every endeavor I'm involved in but one, I've implemented that uplifting service agreement. And it's basically a contract. And I got that uplifting service agreement from a book written by John Kaufman, but I think it's called Uplifting Service, matter of fact. And he talked about a company. He's a protege of John C. Maxwell, I think. Yeah. But the idea came from a company that he was talking about where they had an agreement where you had to sign it. And it wasn't a contractual agreement per se. It wasn't a formal employee contract. It was just like, these are our mission. These are our purpose. This is how we get down. This is the rules of the road, right? So basically, all the backbiting and BS.com and stuff that transpired in corporate America, this is not welcome here. And if you're going to sign this uplifting service agreement, so we know you've read it, and if you can't be accountable to it, there's the door. So we don't need to have a discussion. right? So if you want to bring that drama, you want to bring that conflict, you want to be petty, small-minded, you want to try to skirt accountability and responsibility, okay, you signed this agreement, you don't want to be accountable to it, there's the door, right? And because I've had people sign that uplifting service agreement, I know you have to get it to join, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't have to have the conversation with you sometimes about seeing the door, right? Because you look at it and it's like, I can't lie about this. Not personal. We just might not be for you. That's all it is to it, right? So number one, do you get it? The other piece is, do you want to be held accountable? A lot of people will respect you. They'll admire you. They'll appreciate what you do, but they don't want to be accountable to it. They're not about that life, right? And as your organization grows and the responsibility and accountability needs to become even more prominent in order for it to work, right? I always tell people it's not lonely at the top. It's just you meet new people, because some people can't make the climb.
Mm-hmm.
The air gets thin. The scrutiny gets tighter. More is expected of you. And some people can't handle it. It breaks them. Yeah. And that's okay. And it's okay. If you don't want to be accountable to what we're doing here, there's no bad blood. You know, it's just, once again, you're just not a good fit. That's okay. Right. And then, of course, the C can be either capacity or capability, right? Do they have the skills, the ability, or are they willing to learn the skills and become capable to execute? Because you can have people who get it. You can have people who want it. But if they don't have the capacity to deliver, right? What do you do about that? Well, there's the door, you know, and I'll help you find I've helped plenty of people find other places to work. I've connected people with other people who I think they'd be a better fit. I've been in situations where I realized, you know what? I don't want to be accountable. You know what? I don't have the bandwidth. I'm not ready for this. And I've been in situations where I'm like, you know what? I'm the weak link here. And it's very rare because I'm very competitive. But there's been a couple situations where I know I was a weak link and I knew I was not willing to learn the skills that were required to level. I was going to be a hurt to the organization more than a help. And so I exited stage left. Right? Mm-hmm. That for me has been like a saving grace. Out of that book has several powerful nuggets. But that GWP, oh my goodness.
I'm gonna pull that one down too.
Yeah.
How did you know? I don't know if you're the one that wants to do the interviewing, but I have questions too. So if you don't mind me asking, how did you know that you didwill have the bandwidth? Because I also think, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but will have a frequent butting of the heads or argument with the imposter syndrome in me. And I have to like punch that bitch out. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, damn, I'm sorry. I'm connecting with you, Juan. I gotta, give her a good pop and say, get out of my way. Yeah. Cause I'm moving. So I'm just interested in, how you recognized you actually were the weak link versus a part of you going, I'm in the wrong room. Or I don't belong here. Do you understand that question?
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, go right ahead.
And just to give you a little bit of background, ladies, hi everybody.
Hi.
But I've been also in business over 20 years, and I've done the we and the me, like you talked about, Dr. Ruffin, and then done the virtual assistant and the physical assistant and all the things. I think we've all done the things. Had a staff of over 20 something people, had a staff of nobody, and so it just kind of depends. That question right there, and it sounds like I always feel I'm in the right room, like I can do it. It's just whether or not I want to, or whether or not it fits in my line of sight, my goals. Is it going to be something that's going to take me to the next level in my dreams and my hopes and my company's vision, or not? Then if it's not going to fit in my streamline, then it can't. I'm not going to do it. Like I'm not going to, like Juan said, I don't want to spend the time trying to figure out how to learn their company culture or, bring that into the fold of what I'm doing as a vision. It doesn't fit. And so, but I always feel like any room that I'm in, I could do the work. I can play the game. We can go to the White House or we can go to the street, whatever we need to do, I can do it. But I need to make sure that it's going to be in line with what my goals are for the company. Period.
Yeah.
And if it's not,
answer.
it's a waste of my time.
And is it part of my personal mission?
Yeah.
I'm learning that. The mission for the company may be one. Well, my company's missions align with my personal mission now, but I really had to work on what is my personal mission too.
And then all of the things. So like in my vision of me and my company, they tend to align, but like I have spiritual goals, financial goals, professional goals, personal goals, emotional goals. And if they're not in line with those are personal, and that's not in line with the business, then I don't do it. Like I don't waste the time because, as the clock, ticks, tick tock, our time is like, and so why waste time doing things that are not going to, be in line with what you want to accomplish.
I love that point. I think that goes to the clarity of your message or your goals. And that's something that I'm always going back and refining because, you've got your overall mission, your overall goals for each segment of your life. And then, things will happen and I'll go, okay, we're getting closer. And you start to whittle away and see the shape of things coming. And so, and then tying that back to the team of me or we, you then say, okay, I have this level of clarity. I think also that indicates your level of leadership. That as long as you're clear and your message and your mission are clear, other people will then, as you said, Joanne, be attracted to that and want to come in and want to play ball with you. And now, hopefully, we start to build that team of we that's strong, that we can actually resonate with and allow them to express and do the things like they're going to do it, not necessarily how we're going to do it. But also sticking within the guidelines of how things need to be done in a sense.
Yeah, I think what Karen was talking about, processes and procedures, those words that take a long time to build your employee manual and all the things, and you're still operating, like all of that is key. Like if you have, let me go back. I think one of the things I got into trouble with early on in the business is, finding people who wanted to do the work, but not necessarily have the skills. They're all around me, oh, I want to help out. Cousin so-and-so and friend so-and-so and the mother of so-and-so, they were available. So you put them to work and you realize I'm spending more time trying to train you than you are doing the work. Right. Too much drama. And because I'm too close to you, you're taking advantage. So I went through that period. And then I had to realize, okay, the investment that you talked about, Dr. Ruffin, is I have to create the position that I need and then fill it with the skills, as opposed to having this person that I'm trying to fill into a position. Once I got that straight, then now I can follow a process and a procedure of my hiring practices for the company. Now I know what I'm looking for. So when I see it, I can see, oh, that person has the skills I'm looking for to do this job. And I was doing it wrong and backwards the whole time. Just thankful somebody wanted to be on my team and help out, and trying to figure out they can do this much of the job I really want done. And then I'm dragging trying to get the things accomplished.
That's a great point, Nina.
It's hard to put your life's energies behind a compromise, right? It's hard to put your life's energies behind a compromise. And it's something that I tell entrepreneurs all the time, especially when I'm working with individuals who are new and seeking out my guidance and advice. And the first thing I tell them is, I hope you're ready to do the hard. It's going to be hard. You're going to work harder than you ever have. I don't know the definition
of what hard is. Right. Tell them it's going to be hard. There's no way to really describe.
No. I tell them, trust me, whatever pain you feel like you're feeling at their W-2, multiply it times 10. Right. You're going to get squeezed. Now, the juice will be worth the squeeze, right? The freedom, the accoutrements, success. There's a reason why we chose entrepreneurship. I know I chose it, The bottom line is, my children have been with me almost every day for I don't know how many months at a time. In my previous occupation in the banking world, that wouldn't have happened. I've got to see my children grow up. I've got to see their first steps. I've gotten to see all the things that fathers typically don't get to see. The juice is worth the squeeze, but you're going to get squeezed. right? And so, and that's why I say, make sure that your life's energies are being diverted to something that's not a compromise, right? Because if you have to compromise yourself, you're not going to have the energy to do the things that you're going to have to do. You're not going to be willing to spend the midnight oil. You're not going to be willing to learn the things you need to learn. You're not going to be willing to sacrifice. Sometimes you got to give some things up to go up. And you're not going to want to give those things up if you're in something that your heart really is behind, that you're really not vested in, right? So, you know, for me, I'm always cognizant of that when I am, because sometimes I'm the one that's being recruited, or I'm the one that's deciding to participate in a project, right? I'm maintaining my independence, but do I want to participate? Do I want to work with these business owners? And the first question I ask myself is this a compromise in any way for me, right? Based on my vision, my goals, the things that matter most to me, where I see myself 10, 15 years from now, is this going to be in alignment? And if it's not, 9 times out of 10, I'm up out of there, right? As a CEO, I heard someone use CEO acronym, someone who creates environments of opportunity.
I like that.
Love that.
So
That's great.
I like that.
So in everything that I do, I look to create environments for opportunity for people that I want around me, right? So I try to create an environment of opportunity where people want to participate. I learned that I don't want to be the deal because then I can't grow it, right? Because number one, I make errors. I'm fallible. You know, yesterday, some knucklehead driving a car could have had one too many and hit me. And now some double SOB has put me in the ground, right? I'm aware of that. So then what happens to my business? What happens to my legacy? What happens to my children? I got to build it, right? So I try to create environments of opportunity where people who are more skilled, more capable, more educated, more intelligent than me feel like, okay, this is a space where I can do my thing, right? And as long as they can adhere to that uplifting service agreement, knock yourself out, right? Let me give you the freedom to do what you need to do, right? And that's my mindset. But conversely, that's what I also look like when I'm looking for when I partner with individuals. So when I walk into a room, the first thing I'm looking at is the leadership. Are they here to take advantage of people? Are they treating people like underlings? Are people just random employees that they're squeezing and exploiting for every dime they can get? Or are they looking at those individuals like partners? Are they looking at those individuals and saying, you know what, I'm going to create an environment where they can get their shine, right? And if I see the opposite, if I sense it, smell it, I'm out the door. And I wasn't always the case. I was stubborn, right? And you know, I was the type of person that once I said I was going to do something, I would stick it through to the end. And I learned that no, because you know, like Nina said, I mean, 2 years go by and you're like, what the hell just happened here?
And it seems to go by faster as we get a little older.
Yeah.
Say that again for the people in the back, Dr. Ruffin.
I know. Oh my gosh, please let time go backwards.
Yeah, all of that, what you said. I'm in the same vein. I've gotten really, really good at walking into a room and sensing what's going on and knowing whether or not I want to spend my time with this. It could be a client. It could be somebody who wants to join the team. It could be a partnership. It could be an opportunity. It just doesn't, whatever it is, I can feel it right away. And, you know, I'm looking for it when I'm walking into the room and I really I don't have to take everything that comes to my table. So if it doesn't fit, then I don't take it. That's just the way that you know, my integrity and how I need to sleep at night. And I need to be able to know that the people that I'm working with, we're on the same page. Like all of that is super duper important to me. And so, yeah, if it doesn't feel right, I listen to the gut inside of me and say,
And that comes with experience.
Yeah,
that comes with more experience.
Over and over.
And sometimes getting knocked in the head a few times.
Yes. And then you down the road, like, how did I end up at this time?
Right.
Like,
how did I land here?
I was trying to be too nice or something, or trying to my word. I said I was gonna come, so I'm coming. But then I can also say, you know what, this is not for me. And God bless you. And I'm out.
I'm gonna echo that, Nina, because I am, and I think we all are, but I'm such a relationship person. And I've always said, boy, I'm a relationship person to a fault, where there are things that I would never think of doing or saying to another human being. And yet sometimes it takes a little while to recognize that that's actually happening to you. You know, sometimes it's a very stealthy thing that's going on, behaviors that you, because it's not in your wheelhouse of things. And I think this is when you talk about the experience, Karen, is that definitely early on, and hey, it could still happen to me where I'm just, I just lose track or I lose sight, where I'm thinking that, you know, I've evolved beyond that, but yet then somebody else will stealthily come in with their bad behavior. And I'm so hopeful for them. I have so much hope for every human being that, again, I don't recognize it. Well, I'll give you another chance. Come on, you can do this. Come on, you know, and I want so badly for people to just do better for themselves and be better for themselves and then be part of that collective. Like I just, and then, you know, I had a patient the other day call and we do these 15-minute consultation calls with people. And he, you know, I said, okay, well, I would bring you into the office now and here's what I would do. And he said, well, I don't really want to commit. Can we just do the x-rays and the exam and then you tell me what's going on? I go, well, that was the purpose of this call. And he goes, yeah, I get it. I mean, you don't really want people wasting your time. And I said, no, you know what it is? It's heartbreak for me. When I know that I can help somebody, when I know that I have something that is going to change your life and you decide you don't want it, right now I'm giving you 15 minutes of my time and you can tell me you don't want it and that's okay. But I'm no longer in a place in my life where I'm willing to accept your mediocrity to try to make it better. So, you know, that is a lesson that took a long time to recognize and feel like it's okay to reject people. Feel like, you know, because I think by nature, I don't like to reject people, so there's these things with being an entrepreneur that they're very important, that they're protective mechanisms for us, but they also, if we're clear about our vision, we know they're going to get us to that next place. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say you're not for me or I'm not for you. Yeah. And even with employees, right? You know, time to let somebody go, time to bring somebody new in. You know,
I think that's you setting boundaries. That's setting boundaries for yourself and for your business. Not necessarily 100%. Rejecting them because they're rejecting what you're offering.
That's exactly right.
They're rejecting what you're offering.
Yeah, right.
You offered them something and they rejected it. You didn't.
Right.
You offered them a solution, an idea, an opportunity, and they said no.
Right.
If they don't want to follow the ways that you want them to do it, they said no. And so now that breaks that connection. You're no longer obligated because they said no.
Yeah. Let them and being okay with that. Just being, you know, I'm good.
Because you have so many other people you can help.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
It's for you because this is a great opportunity, you know. And that's how I had to look at it over the years, because I have a staffing company, right? So I'm constantly interviewing and hiring people constantly. And I get that a lot. I'm like, you don't really understand. In my field, in this event space that I do, I'm one of the only ones that pay what I pay. And I pay what I pay because I know how hard it is out here. And I want to help you get better. I want to help you get that car that you're trying to get. I want to help you. So I end up doing that kind of thing. And if they say no, or they don't show up, saying no is in multiple ways. Not showing up on time, not agreeing to the code of conduct, not, you know, company culture, which I make people sign, you know, all of the things that, you know, all of that could be a no for me. And you've told me no, not once, twice, but 3 times. And now, you know, you've broken our bond. So unfortunately, this opportunity is no longer available for you.
Right, exactly,
Right.
Or not.
Something else that I think oftentimes hurt entrepreneurs is we try to hold on to people, right? And I remember I grew up in, I grew up Detroit, West Side, Joy Road, Chicago, off of Pearson.
All right.
Yeah, those palatial neighborhoods over there, palaces and well-manicured lawns. I mean, I remember I drove down that block a while back ago, and on the block where I was at, I think there's only like maybe 5 houses standing. That's how bad it is, right? Gosh. Yeah. And something struck me as I was driving down the block. I actually saw somebody I recognized in my youth. And he did not recognize me, but I recognized him immediately. And I was like, my gosh, right? And for me, you know, what that taught me growing up in that environment and then kind of looking at my journey where I'm at now is there are levels to this. And the people who are with you in one season are not going to be with you in the next. And the people who are with you in that season are not going to be with you in the next, right? Mm-hmm. It's the reason why if you ever walk into a Starbucks, one thing that's always struck me about Starbucks is they're always interviewing people. Even when they're not hiring, they're always interviewing people because they understand that, right? That people fall out of love with where they're working at. People have what they believe are better opportunities. People realize they don't want to be accountable. People realize that they've fallen out of graces with the boss, or maybe they're the boss and they've fallen out of graces with the person they're working with, whatever the case may be. You know, I found one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make, particularly when you're going from that me to we, and then you're thinking about, should I go to that we to 20, 30, 50 employees? The dynamics get different. You have to understand that you have to almost be like a sports team. You have to be constantly drafting people, constantly drafting new talent. Because when you're constantly drafting new talent, quite frankly, you're not so inclined to hold on to individuals who may not be carrying their weight. One of the primary reasons why you hold on to people is they are occupying a space, like being in a bad relationship. You know the relationship's no good, but you're accustomed to the person being there. But the double slap when you're entrepreneurs is not only is the person there sucking resources, but they're taking space of somebody who'd have been better suited for the position.
Yeah.
And if you're constantly interviewing, constantly looking for talent, you're not so beholden to individuals who, quite frankly, might be a drain on you, right? And to be transparent, you know, it also sends the message to the individuals that you're working with that, hey, I am constantly looking to upgrade talent here. Like, you know, you do have to kind of earn your place here. Just because you did A, B, C, D yesterday, this is entrepreneurship. It's like sports. You know, we don't remember the person who won the championship last year. It's who's going to win it this year, right? You got to fall in and do those things. Like, for me, it's always interesting. For me, one of the biggest conundrums I have personally is you have individuals out there who have been working in corporate America or in the W-2 world so long, they reach a point where they try to do just enough not to get fired, but enough to earn the income they want. They played that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know anything about that game. Like, I don't even know how that works. I only know one speed. You know?
Right.
It's like, I wake up in the morning, 4 a.m., go button. I'm going. And I'm going to go hard. And, you know, if I make a mess on the way, I don't stop. I'm going to go. Right. Versus individuals who try to do the bare minimum. I just can't get that, you know?
Yeah.
And for me,
I don't get it either. Don't you look around and this needs to be done. That needs to be done. How can you sit in the midst of something and not see?
And those are the people who are constantly complaining that they can't get ahead. They don't have enough money. They need more of X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I can't help you. Like, you're the only one that can help yourself. So
it's a renter's mentality versus a homeowner's mentality.
Yeah. I had a strategic partner that I was working with for about a year, this past year, that I thought was a really great strategic partner, not an employee, but just somebody within the community that I was working with. And I had this light bulb that came up, and I was so entrenched in, like, I loved her as an individual. We really resonated together. We became very good friends. And so that relationship piece didn't allow me to see the fact that I was doing all of the work in the business partnership and the friendship. And so I just eventually called her and I said, this isn't working for me anymore. Not the friendship, but the business part of it. And I said, we're going to need to, I can't move forward with this anymore. And I don't want to talk, I'm happy to tell you off air, but if she ever listened to this, but I just said, it's not working for me, and it's time for us to part ways on this. And she was like, nope, I get it. I understand. I recognize that this has been top heavy on you. It's not fair of me. So she did recognize what was going on. My assistant said to me, who by the way, is such a freaking rock star. So I found my girl. Oh my gosh. Yes. And she said to me, that must've been really difficult. And I said, no, because I also recognize that when it's time, it's time.
Mhm.
And I'm a bad breaker upper because I wait too long. And I'm a good breaker upper because it does not take me down when I do it. So
When you know, you know.
when you know,
Right.
when, and it was feeling very, it was just feeling very compromised. And so again, when you know that, boy, and then I think anybody, I've got 24 years in business, and everything that I do and the community that I'm involved in and the things that I do out there, anybody should be pounding my door down to come and be a strategic partner with me,
Mhm.
should want to work with me, to want like, no, like you need to, so she, she can go do what she does, but it's not going to be on my playground anymore. So
I think it's interesting that she knew, though.
she knew.
She
and
knew.
I was like,
Right.
then why didn't you say anything?
Right.
Right.
You
She
were doing all the work.
recognized she was very happy that I was doing all the work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just had not
So-
too long ago did the same thing with a strategic relationship, friendship, partnership thing, and it just wasn't working any longer. And it was just, and she was like, I completely understand.
Which is great, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm glad you do understand, but
yeah.
So you knew, like that,
Right.
and that part is like
Right.
a sting a little bit. Like you
Then
knew
why-
this was not.
Yeah.
but
Why didn't you
say
try to
anything.
make it better? Why didn't you say
Because
anything?
for them, it's working.
Right.
So they're sucking
Exactly.
everything out of us.
Yes.
and
it's
benefiting
they're
from the
taking all that
relationship
shit.
and the connection. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good for us that we can
Right.
recognize when it's
Yes.
not working and we
Yes.
cut that bad boy off.
Right.
And hopefully when that happens, if it should happen again, you recognize it much earlier.
For sure. We should have another conversation called "How to Know When to Cut the Cord."
Cord, baby. Cut the
Well,
cord.
Cut the cord.
I don't want to be redundant, but you're really going to love that book for that reason.
Which
'Cause
one?
really-
Traction. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's really what it's about, right? Like for me, because I've gone through rounds so often, I don't even want to think about it. Like it just ages me to think about all the people I've worked with and the lessons I've had to learn from it. But for me, exactly. But what that book really did for me is put it in clear terms, right? And this is how I judge people on a weekly and monthly basis when I'm doing the evaluations. Does this person get it? Right? Because if you get it, there's certain disputes we shouldn't be having. There's certain issues that shouldn't come up. You get it, right? This is the mission. This is what we both bought into. I just had several relationships with someone that wasn't necessarily in my employ or under my tutelage, but somebody whom I was directly partnered with. And it was obvious to me we had come up with this vision and goal for the direction we wanted to take the business. And it became apparent to me that it was just lip service. Like they really weren't committed to the objective, right? It was just kind of fun and cool to have it there. And I think they like the ideal, the fact that I'm kind of like a stickler when it comes to stuff like that, right? I'm always thinking, how is this aligned with the direction we're headed? I'm always processing things in those terms, right? And they like the fact that I was cleaning up all the messes that was transpiring along the way because I was constantly thinking about that. But I realized that I was like, this person really doesn't get it. I think I was having a conversation with Nina about this, and I always kind of figure out what's the proper venue to talk about stuff like this. But then I'm like, I shouldn't even have that discussion. So this is what I know when I walk into a situation. The first thing everyone sees is 6'2" black guy. And I'm not the friendliest person. I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to walk in and be a goofball for you. You're getting Jawan Buford, highly educated, highly skilled, highly capable individual. If I got to make you feel comfortable to be around me, then we're going to have problems, right? But I know that's what people see. And I know because that's what they see my phenotype, that there's a certain bar I have to meet to be taken seriously, right? I can't come up, I got to meet that bar. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to explain to my partner, look, we cannot miss deadlines. We cannot break our promises.
Yeah.
We cannot not deliver on things we say we're going to do. Because while you may be able to get away with it, I can't. Right. So, and that was kind of written into our mission. Like what's gonna separate us from everyone else, we're gonna be more professional, we're gonna be more committed, we're gonna keep our word. Because so often, as entrepreneurs, that's this kiss of death, right? Especially in the beginning, you better keep your word. People are watching you. Even when you think they're not watching you, they're watching you. So, for me, it was obvious that person didn't get it. And they didn't get that level of accountability that I wanted to have to build an organization, right? In part because I'm just about that. It's ingrained in me. But also, I'm just very transparent to people about the fact that I can't afford to be part of some junk because I know what I have to transcend coming in through the door, right? Once again, the whole, do they want it? Do they want it? Because if you have something that you've committed to, and so I like to play this game myself. If I were earning $100 million today, how would I dress? How would I speak? How would I carry myself? How would I conduct myself? What type of spaces would I operate in? What type of relationships would I be involved in, right? And I reverse engineer that. And then I take inventory of my behavior. And if my behavior isn't consistent with that, then I got to make some changes, right? It's the same thing whether or not somebody wants to be accountable. So, okay, you're about the mission. You know what we're trying to accomplish here. Are you doing these things? And if you're not willing to do these things, you are, and you said it, Nita, the person doesn't even have to tell you. They're telling you by not showing up. They commit to a certain goal or objective, and they were able to sleep easy at night, not having achieved it, right? They're just okay with coming up short. Okay, that may work at the JLB, but we're playing a different game here. No, you can't do that, right? So, and then of course, once again, the capability piece. Even if you're not skilled, and this is what I struggle with. This is what I was actually going to ask, right? Because for me, the lesson I've learned is just because a person's capable, that's not good either. So you have people who are really, really capable. People who are really, really talented, really, really skilled. But man, that character piece, character piece. I mean, I've lost tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, if I were to see the person today, okay, so we're on Zoom recording, so I ain't gonna say what I would do, but but don't let me cross paths with one of them. But I remember, like in a calendar year, this person's misbehavior cost me over $40,000. That's how much I had to eat because of the person. Yeah. And Nina, you probably know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. We had a conversation about him. You warned me about him. And I was like, but he's talented, he's smart, he's articulate. We go to a bar, we have a good time, good conversation. We can misbehave and be on the same page.
A lot of people present well.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Karen. A lot of people present well.
So I guess
can they back it up?
Yeah. So I think for me, that lesson was a turning point for me, right? And then when I read the book and I married it to that experience, I was like, oh no, I'm never going to allow that to happen again, right? At least not knowingly. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're holding people to that GWC piece, I like it. It's so simple, right? Do they get it? Do they want to be accountable? Do they have the skills or capacity to do the work? And if I grade you a C- and below on any of those things, number one, you got to be an A on do you get it? You have to be an A. You have to be an A+. Do you want to be accountable? Okay, I don't expect you to work as hard as me. I don't. I'm the one that's doing the thing. Mm-hmm. So you can't ever expect, you just can't. You can't expect particularly if it's that kind of hierarchical relationship, right? Right. Now, if you're a partner, that's different. But if it's a hierarchical relationship, I don't expect people who are accountable to me in that way to want it as much as I want it. But you better be like a B+, right? In terms of wanting to be accountable to it. But then have the skill set. That's what, that's what I kind of, to this day, I kind of struggle with that a little bit because I know where I came from. And I always wasn't the most articulate. I was clumsy. There were things I didn't know how to do. But I was willing to fail and make a fool of myself to learn what I needed to learn to get to where I needed to get to.
That's what I was going to say. That capability piece includes, are you willing to learn? And are you willing to take the initiative to learn?
Right.
And make the mistakes in learning.
Right.
I mean, that's part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's
and then we have to give room for mistakes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
We got to allow them to fall like we did as they're learning, and then be able to kind of mold and pick them up and point them in the right direction. You got to be willing to do that. And so that can be difficult, even the GWC model, because everything doesn't always work the same way that, it's not that cut and dry a lot of times. And you have to, that's why I have to have a sense of grounding and a sense of, listen to my gut, because a lot of times it may be telling me something that the GWC doesn't, you know what I mean? Like I have to connect with that person on a spiritual level, if you will. And then from that, the fruit of your labor, so that's a spiritual term. So if people are showing fruit, that's interest and initiative, and like Karen said, wanting to learn, and they're excited to not on that GWC. That excitement can turn into a lot of different things. Like I just want to be down. Like I want to be a part of something great. That right there, you can take and mold and fill those other GWC things out.
Right. And I've also learned that, sometimes people are experiencing something personally, and it could be at home, it could be internally, and they don't I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. You don't understand what's going on. Right. And that's where communication comes in, that we have to give a little grace for understanding where a person is in their personal walk. I'm going to go to the spiritual talk a little bit like Nina did. Give a little grace that people are not in the same place that we are, right? They're still in their still growing in their walk, as they're growing in business, right?
And that's something we can guide them through.
Right.
Right.
And when maybe experiencing something that is hindering them.
Yeah. And we have to have, and that's such a delicate balance.
Yeah.
Because
right.
now
maybe that's why I couldn't get it out.
Ended up in these situations that we're being taken advantage of. So we have to be really careful about balancing that grace with, direction and training and proving and pushing and, all of those things with that, because it sounds like we've all kind of been there. We want that relationship. We want to help and we want to do these things, but we have to really be careful about being a boss, being in business, pushing forward, not allowing that person or that situation to take over, because there's some god awful things happening. People are struggling so greatly. And how do you then compassion and grace, but yet you still have
have to grow your business, right?
Yeah, I've had
and I think too, it's recognizing
4 deaths.
Oh my goodness!
People or family. So people are still struggling really, really hard. And I have to sometimes there's not a lot of room for grace because we have this thing we have to do for a God.
Right.
So sorry that you lost so-and-so.
So sometimes you have to say, we're going to move on here, but I'm going to check back with you. And see where you are later on.
Yeah, I love that, Karen. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting ready to say something.
I think it was just to spin off of what Nina was saying with just recognizing that when you're talking about having grace and being able to recognize that are the things that we need to have grace on, are they, I hate to use the word acceptable, but sometimes there's things you're like, that's not right. Like, if you're seeing that it's being able to recognize, is it something repetitive that simple and repetitive that shouldn't be getting missed, I guess. If somebody's continuing to do the same thing repetitively, not listening, like there's certain of those things. versus, oh my gosh, I mean, we all have bad days, right? I mean, or I just say I always have varying shades of good days. So, you know, some days you have more bandwidth than others.
Varying shades of good days.
Yeah. And then just recognizing that it is, you know, where's your bandwidth that day? And then paying attention the next day. And then again, is it repetitive? Are they coming out of it? Or do we need do we need to intervene in some bigger way? So, you know, for me, if my bandwidth goes from here to here and I just need to get through the day, I know that I'll come in the next day and I'll be fine. And so that's, I think, important to give people that space if they don't have that. But then again, you can't wallow in it. It's done and it's over. This is not okay. Right. And deaths aside. I mean, I don't know, deaths aside. I mean, my dog died, you know, my mother died, you know, it's like, we've all dealt with that. And then we all still have to come in. And I don't want to make light of death by any means, but
you're absolutely right.
But we have to evolve past it and continue to dig our heels in and get stronger as we, you know, through those things.
Yeah.
And I think they look at us as examples of that, right? I think one of the effective things is that, do you do what you say, do you do? And so like, if you are pushing them to do something, are you also doing the same thing? Or are you allowed to fall apart and not come in and, you know, all those things, but you're expecting them to. One of the reasons why I wanted to be an entrepreneur, many reasons, but is I wanted the freedom to be able to treat my employees like I wanted to be treated when I was in corporate America.
100%.
And so, you know what I mean? So the owner of the company, when I was in corporate America, the tech company, he just was a good old boy, feet on desk, liked the bourbons and cigars. And he liked the fact that I was, you know, a gung-ho and a company person and doing all the things. And so I had 51 people I had to manage. He got rid of all my middle managers and my two partners had 8 apiece. And so like when you're talking about, and then I would treat all of these Black and brown people, let's just call it what it is. Those are all the departments that I managed. And, you know, I would get, hey, I don't have a babysitter today. Hey, I got to catch the bus. I can't get there. And so all of that was happening. And because of the grace I was able to give them, you know, they showed up. They figured it out. They got a ride. I was able to kind of like encourage them. And so I would show up. If I wasn't feeling well, I'm here. Like, you know, and that could be a little, you know, it's a company thing and not really a people thing. But I wanted the opportunity when I left. I said, I will never, ever treat my employees the way that you treated these people who were directors of first impressions on your telephone line. They were the ones that called when the software went down. My middle-aged Black women were the people on the phones. Hello, may I help you? And he would treat them like crap. And so I just remember feeling that and understanding that, you know, being an example to my employees, like being the person that I would want to be if I was working for them, what I remember when it comes to grace and ambition and training and all the things I think about, you know, that I want for them, I want for myself, you know?
I mean, that's probably why we all became entrepreneurs. I was like, I'm not good working for other people because I don't like the way I was expected to be, you know, and also the lack of there was never recognition. So I'm always about recognizing people for their accomplishments and their successes. And I think that's just so, we all want to be recognized and heard.
Yeah. And I think I became an entrepreneur for the same reason. I was an architecture major. My first couple jobs in architecture, I was the only Black person working in the firm and the only woman working directly in architecture. Never got any mentorship at all. Boy, definitely. The architecture and construction, didn't get that mentorship, no one to direct me. So I just went off on my own. And I said, when I have my own company, I'm going to mentor people that look like me so that they can move forward. So yeah, we're all in the same same group.
I just want to make one last comment because I did forget my power cord. So the little green light just came on my back. I know. But I did want to say too, I wanted to go back to a comment you made earlier, Joanne, about that customer service piece, is that, you know, not missing that phone call, not, you know, always being better than the next person. Because that's how, you know, white, black, I mean, that's how I operate as well.
Yeah.
Because there are, and now I don't know if you all recognize this, but the level of customer service in our current world is atrocious.
Yes, it is.
So it's horrible. So now can you imagine that those expectations that we have for ourselves and the people around us and the people we're going to take care of, if we, you know, we're still operating at 100, 110%, and everybody else decided to go down to, you know, 50, 40, 30. And so I think that's just going to make us continue to shine. And you know, I will call people. I had this conversation with some people the other day about, you know, people were looking for contractors. I've called 6 people and I never got a call back. And I said, you know, people will call me and they'll ask me specific questions. Do I take their insurance? Or, you know, and maybe I don't. I call them back. I don't even have my assistant do it. I will call because I know it's a 2-minute phone call. And I'll just say, you know what, thanks. We appreciate you calling. We don't, but however, here's where you can find somebody who does. And I just feel like those touch points are critical to set you apart in somebody else's mind that, hey, when they then can afford to come to you without insurance, or in, you know, in my particular case with insurance, if they can then afford, they're going to think of me. I'm the one that took care of them when, you know, nobody else could. So, so I just wanted to make that comment, you know, and just say, keep 100%.
Before you jump off, I mean, this conversation, I thought of 3-4 other things. It could probably go on for another hour, but I know you said we wrap up here at a certain amount of time.
Before my battery dies.
And for your battery dies. So
be mad.
A question I guess I will pose to you, Paula, and I'd be curious to hear everyone else's response as we wrap up here is, what are you going to do different in relationship to this topic? You know, at the end of the day, I feel like conversations like this are fascinating, they're cool, but they're just conversations. They become growing and training moments when you take action, right? What are you going to do differently, I guess, in 2022 to...
for my employees or in general?
Just as a business owner in terms of growing and scaling, what are some things you're going to do differently?
I am definitely, so I'm actually currently working on what you were talking about with your employees and those levels of accountability. I forgot what you called it earlier, but I would love to read that book. I'm actually working with his name's Dr. Glenn Vo. He's a dentist. I told you I'm headed to Dallas to do some training with him on these things. So everything that I'm doing, and my friends call me, they're like, you're doing everything. You don't stop. I'm like, I can't, not right now. I've got so many things. I want to create those layers. I want to set Michelle, my assistant, up for success. I want to bring somebody else in. I want to bring in associates who want to be able to come to a chiropractor's office. It's like this icky past with associates being driven into the ground and not appreciated and paid well. And I'm not going to be that person. They're going to come here and they're going to make a bleep ton of money, and they're going to take care of people. They're going to learn what I have to teach them. So I want to be able to inspire more people to be better at taking care of more people. I guess if I could, I need to write that down. That was good.
I did. I wrote it down.
Okay, good. So that's what I'm going to do.
No bad days, just varying levels of good days. I'll be talking about later. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, no problem.
How about yourself?
Well,
Karen?
I'm going to get these processes in place so I can hire more people, and so I don't have to be in the office every day. I don't have to focus on that one business every day.
Yeah.
So I can, as Paula said, build those layers. That's what I want to do, and build the businesses that I have. And bring more people in so that they can grow with us.
Yeah,
I like that.
And we're in the same boat. I am just now hiring staff back from before COVID. We had a full team and full on 2020 vision and 2020 had our team, our motto. We were in it. And then, we fell off, and I'm really just now, even though business has actually stayed and we've done well, it's time to bring the core team together and develop processes and procedures with this new team. They're always being updated. Our SOPs are always, being updated. So we're hopefully finishing that. We're retreating a little bit in December, getting our fourth quarter goals and everything across the board when it comes to core, and launching top of next year, ready to go, always tweaking, but not eliminating our process and procedures, getting everybody on board. We have a staffing side of the company, we have an event management side of the company, and having enough people to run both of those. And I'm with you, Karen. I need to be able to pull out more and more, right? So I can then work on the business and not in.
Yes.
Right. The goals of entrepreneurship.
Amen to that.
I'm thinking before 2020, we were on track for that. 2020 said, sit down and be sure that you're on track for that and that you're able to put those pieces in places so you can grow. And now, thankfully, sounds like we've all been growing throughout this entire year and a half. And now we can put the pieces in place. We can implement those things.
For sure.
Yeah, excited.
And I'm working on some virtual platforms, putting together some online courses, and so that's also going to be a part of the whole being able to step out and look at. I think we all have that same desire, step back from that grind, right? So work on a grind in another way, like, because we're not going to stop, right?
Right. Right.
Not at all.
Just find another direction.
Fantastic. Well, I'll keep mine brief just for the interest of time. I know we got stuff to do. I guess for me, I'm just going to take the governor off. For a while, you know what I mean? I'll say take the governor off. The governor on a car. So they put governors on cars, right? Particularly if it's a VA.
Are you saying governor, like governor. The state governor?
Like a governor. Yep. It's pronounced the same way. But there's a governor.
It's spelled NER. Yeah. It's spelled a little different.
No. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so there's a governor that's on your car. Because if the governor wasn't on there, the car would go much faster. It would go as fast as it could possibly go, right? You got a VA engine on the dash. It's saying it can only go 160. A VA can go well in excess of 160. There's a governor on that engine to make sure that it only goes at a certain pace, right? For me, I've had a governor on for a while, and I realized that. And the governor was internal, right? Wanting to make people comfortable around me, wanting to be palpable, not wanting to come off as a brute, just being concerned. And to be frank, being concerned about issues related to race and ethnicity and interactions and all that, all those isms and just random stuff that clutters your mind. We're engaging people every single day, and you're dealing with people's stuff, right? And I said to myself, I'm taking the governor off. Like, I know I can go faster. I know I can accomplish more. I know I've paid the price to be where I'm at. I know I deserve some things, and I'm going to take the governor off. And I'm going to practice GWC, right? So I've been operating here. I'm going to 10X that. And if you don't get it, that's okay. Right? But that's what I need to do for myself. Because for me, I think the greatest crime for me is to live in this country. And then I think about, the people who built this country, previous generations. They built this country and they sacrificed and did all the things they did to make sure we have the opportunities we have today. And quite frankly, I'd be damned if I let them die. Right? Like, when even if in my family lineage, like it's all the sacrifices that were made so I could be the first person to graduate from the University of Michigan and do all the things I've done, right? I'd be letting them down if I didn't take the governor off. It's time to level up, right? I think so many of us have gotten into this habit, particularly in this environment, and where we're asking ourselves, what can other people do for us all the time? I need help, right? When the real question is, what can you do for yourself and what can you do for the other people around you, right? And I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to the people around me if I didn't take the governor off and become more than what I am right now, so I can help more people, inspire more people, motivate more people. And yes, piss off more people on the way too. That's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we have to pick a side, right? Like we can't be all things to all people, I think.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, that's what I'm going to change. And I think in that process, I'm going to bring a lot of people up along the way. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's awesome.
That's inevitable.
Yes.
And when you walk in your purpose and you move forward in the way that you're supposed to, and the way that you should, then you are going to bring a lot of people along with you.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
In purpose, Mr. Shawan. Take the governor off of the compressor.
Take the governor.
I love it. I'm using that.
Take the governor off.
Stealing it.
the compressor. Yeah, take it off. Let them have it.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, look, I appreciate you all taking time.
I like it.
And I look forward to doing this again.
I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to. This is it's so amazing connecting with all of you, and I'm learning so much hearing from you guys, and just this is great. I love it.
I have traction on my read list now.
Yes, we all do. Okay, maybe we need to then come back. Let's all read it or listen to it, and then we come back and we talk about a little book club.
Book club, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
That would be great.
That'd be great.
Fantastic. All right.
Have a phenomenal day, everyone.
You
too.
And to be continued.
Sounds good. Perfect. All right, you guys.
All right.
See ya.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Amazing weekend.
Bye-bye.